Hi, third grade. Let's correct workbook page 118. You had to tell whether it was a translation, a reflection, or a rotation. Number 1, rotation. 2, reflection. 3, rotation. 4, translation. 5, translation. 6, reflection. 7, rotation. 8, translation. 9, reflection. 10, rotation. 11, rotation. 12, rotation. 13, translation. 14, rotation. 15, translation. And 16 is a reflection. Okay, today we're going to be doing 9.9 in your textbook on page 3, starting on 318. Go ahead and get a piece of paper and your textbook. Get that ready. Today we're learning about solid figures. And solid figures are, if you think about 3D, not 2D, but 3D images, that's kind of what, or shapes, 3D shapes, that's what we're talking about today. So instead of just having a flat square, like there's no dimension to it, we're going to be talking about taking that square and turning it into a cube where it has different sides. It has corners and edges. So that's what we're talking about. So your vocabulary would have to do with the solid figure, and it's some figures all around us. Some other things like face is the flat surface. So there is 1 face, 2, 3. Those are faces. Edges. Edges are the straight lines, the straight corners. So on each side there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'd have to keep turning it to find all the edges. A vertices is a corner where 2 or 3 come together. That's a vertices. A vertex, and more than one is a vertices. Also a plane. A solid figure can make up connected plane figures. And a net is kind of, if I were to take this all apart, like if you fold up a cube, kind of if you have a flat, kind of like a pizza box, how it comes, but then they kind of fold it and tuck in the sides and pull down the top, that would be the net. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the chart on page 319, and we'll get started right away. I have made it up here, but on your piece of paper you don't have to make the chart. If you just have your lined paper and you just do number 1 and then write cube, and then you can write space out each of these, and then I think that'll be fine on your paper, so you don't have to make this chart. Okay, so let's look at the cube, which I found a Rubik's Cube, and I thought these would be, if I had some examples, that it would be easier for you to understand and see. So I have a Rubik's Cube, and that's what I'm using for my cube example for you today. So let's talk about, the first thing on the chart is flat surfaces. How many flat surfaces would a cube have? Okay, let's talk about it, and let's count them. Let me put the book down. Okay, so there is a front and a back. That's 2. 2 sides. 1, 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a top and a bottom. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A cube has 6 flat surfaces. A front, a back, 2 sides, and a top and a bottom. 6. Okay, let's talk about, does it have any curved surfaces? If you think about the curve, like a ball, like a circle, does it have any of those? Nope. A cube does not have any curved surfaces, so that would be 0. Okay, let's talk about edges. Edges. Remember we talked about these being the straight edges, the straight lines to make up each side. So sometimes you have to be careful because you don't want to count the same edge twice. Like if you look at the front, if you count this side and you turn it, you can't count that side again. So it's kind of tricky. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so we've counted all these and we've counted all these as we went across each side. Okay, so let's try it again so you can look, so you can see it. Okay, start with the one side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we can't count this side again because we've already counted it. So you're going to count the other ones. 5, 6, 7. Now again, we've counted this one. 8, 9, 10. Now you notice we're doing the tops and the bottom, so we're not going to turn that to that side. What were we on? I forgot. 9, 10, 11, 12. Is that right? So there should be 12 sides. Or 12 edges, sorry. 12 edges for a cube. And let's count the vertices. Vertices are where the edges and sides come together. So it would be on the top and the bottom of each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. So there are 8 corners or 8 vertices on a cube. Do you want me to count it again? So we start with this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. We already counted these 2. 5, 6. And we already counted these 2. So we just have to go to that back. 7, 8. There's 8. Remember, we counted the top too because we were counting these corners. So we've already counted the top and we've already counted the bottom. So there's 8. It's tricky, I know. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Rectangular prism. My example that I found just around my house is a little box of Jell-O, chocolate pudding Jell-O. And you notice that it's a rectangle. It's not perfectly square. And it has shorter sides. So it's kind of like a gift box. You can think about that too if you had a gift box where the top just opens or lifts right off. A gift box would be a rectangular prism. Okay, so how many flat surfaces does a rectangular prism have? Okay, just like the cube, let's count them. A front, a back, a top, a bottom, and 2 sides. It's the same as a cube. 6. 6. Does it have any curved surfaces or edges? Nothing's curved. It's not like a circle. 0. Okay? And let's talk about those edges again. Remember, if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, then we can't count the same edge on this side. And so since it's the same as the cube, we're going to have the same number of edges, even though it's just a different shape. So there, again, just like the rectangular prism had 12 edges, so does, the cube, so does the rectangular prism. Vertices. Let's count the vertices. If it has the same number of edges, then it's going to have the same number of vertices. Let's count on the front. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go to the back. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we don't need to count those on the sides because we already counted it for the front, right? If we just rotate it, we've already counted that edge. So there's 8. A pyramid. A pyramid, I could not find an example of my house, so we're just going to have to think about it. And look at the example of the pyramid in your textbook on page 318, and it's the purple one. So let's kind of look at that in our textbook to try to give us the examples. Let's count the flat surfaces, and don't forget the bottom. Do you want to pause the video and try to count them and do this on your own? Try to do the pyramid one, just number 3. Okay, let's look. A pyramid has a front, a side, a front and back, that's 2, 2 sides, that's 4, and a bottom, 5. 5 flat surfaces. Okay, how many curved? Is there anything curved on a pyramid? No, so 0. How many edges does a pyramid have? So if you think about the bottom, that flat, it's a square, if you can see it in the picture. There's a square on the bottom, so there would be 4 edges on the bottom. And then there's going to be 5 up the side, 6 up the side, 7 and 8. There's going to be 8 for each of the sides going up to the main point. I know it's hard because I don't have an example. We're just going to try to look at the picture. And vertices. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom, and then there would be 1 at the very tippy top. So there would be 5. Okay, cylinder. I have an example of a cylinder in my house, and I'm sure you do too, which would be a can. You could use a can of soup. I have a can of mandarin oranges, pineapple, something like that you could use. Coffee can. A cylinder, how many flat surfaces does it have? There's 1 there. There's 1 there. 2. 2. This is not flat. This is curved. This is what we're talking about when we say curved. This is a curved edge. It's not flat. So there's 2 flat ones. See how it's flat? Across the top, across the bottom. Flat. 2. How many curved ones do we have? Well, it's continuous, so there's just 1. Edges. There's no flat ones. Edge is a flat, straight line from corner to corner. There aren't any. And since there are no edges, there are no vertices. 0, 0. Okay? I have an example of a sphere, and I'm sure you do at your house too. I found a ball. We have lots of balls at my house, but this is the one I picked because I thought it would be bright enough for you to see and large enough for you to see. So how about the softball? And here, you could think of an ice cream cone. If you have ice cream cones in your house, like a sugar cone, probably not like a cake cone, like the white plain ones, but if you have like a waffle cone or a sugar cone, that would be an example. And I just made one out of paper. So you can see my cone here. And there would be a flat. I didn't make a flat top, but there would be something flat on that bottom too. Like the top of a castle. Something like that. Okay. So why don't you try 5 and 6 in the video, and then we'll come back and we'll check it, okay? Try 5 and 6. Okay, let's look at the sphere. Does it have any flat edges, flat surfaces? No. 0. Does it have any curved ones? Yeah, it has one continuous curve. So 1. Does it have any edges? No edges. So since it doesn't have any edges, it doesn't have any vertices. Let's talk about the cone. How many flat surfaces does this have? It has 1. The bottom, the part that it sits on, is flat. 1 flat surface. A curved, it has 1. It goes around. This is curved. Whoops. So as it goes around, it's curved. Edges. Does it have any straight edges? No. But it does come up to a point. So it has 1 vertices. Oh, sorry. No. It has 0. Since it doesn't have any edges, it doesn't have any vertices. Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. Let's see. Let's do 7, 8, and 9. And I'll see if I can draw out these because we have to talk about the net. Let's see. Let's see if I can draw them. Okay. I'm going to try to pause the video and then I'll try to draw them. Okay, I tried to draw those net pictures as best as I could. Let's look at number 7. And it wants you to name that solid figure. If we were to take this flat image and fold it up, what do you think it would be? Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flat edges, flat surfaces. 6 flat surfaces. So if we look back at the chart that we did earlier, 6 flat surfaces with either a cube or a rectangular prism. This is rectangular or square? If it's a rectangle shape, it would be a rectangular prism. But since it's square, it's going to be a cube or cube. If we folded it all up on those dotted lines, we would make a cube. So number 7 is cube. It had 6 faces, or flat surfaces, and the shape of the face was a square. We talked about that. Okay, let's look at 8. How many faces does this have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We see 5 different, if it's flat right now, it has 5 flat sides faces. So the name of the faces, well, we see 1 square here, right? So there's 1 square. And then what are the other shapes? What are these? Triangles. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And then there are 4 triangles. So if we folded this up, we had the base and we folded it up, what do you think that would make? Go back and look at the shapes on page 318. What has a square bottom and then they fold up? Triangles. The pyramid. Pyramid. Good. And number 9. Let's look at this. What are the shape of the faces? Think about that one first. The shape of these faces. There are rectangles. They're rectangles. How many of them do we have? How many number of faces do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do you think if we folded that flat piece of paper or flat shape up? What would we create? What has a rectangle shape for the faces and has 6? A rectangular prism. rectangular prism. So that's number 9. Okay, I hope seeing the shapes and examples of them let you can do this exercise easier. I'll see you tomorrow, friends.